Hi everyone, welcome back. Today is my monthly favorites, which is sad because it means that October is over. Spooky season is done for another 11 months and I don't know, I find that so sad because I just love October and Halloween. But anyway, let's get into my favorites. I'm gonna kick this off by talking about nail polish. Now, in the last year, I was added to the OPI PR mailing list, which is very neat. But it's funny because I had not really ever tried OPI that much before. And everyone raves about their nail polishes and I was kind of like, okay, but like how special can they be? Look, I'm here to tell you, I have tried out so many of their shades since I was added to their PR list and I love so many of them. One of their more recent collections was the Scotland one, and man, the cream polishes in that collection are phenomenal. I love the reds, I love the oranges. I'm especially drawn towards cream nail polish finishes. I prefer that over like a shimmery or a glitter even, which is very bizarre. But I really like the look of a cream finish polish. And the one in the Scotland collection that really grabbed me was this charcoal gray one. Like, it's not a shade you'd look at and be like, oh, you're gonna be super pretty on the nails. But I put it on and I was like, wow, there's just something really fun about this shade. It is called, oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Just a second. Okay, just got it. So the one I meant to discuss is called Rubba Pub Pub. And this is a dark charcoal color. The one I grabbed accidentally was Things I've Seen in Green, I think. And it's just like a deep green, which looked very similar when I was grabbing it out of the drawer. Anyway, Rubba Pub Pub is a dark charcoal cream texture on the nails and it's beautiful, and it kind of fit with October too because it's spooky season. I get to wear something a little bit more deeper in tone and feel like I'm part of the spooky season. So I kind of like that aspect of the shade too because it just made me feel even more Halloween-y. But this is a color that I feel like I'm gonna wear a lot in November just because it's a little bit darker now. The sun sets much earlier than it did in the summertime, which I actually really like. I know people want more sunlight, I guess, but for me, I love when the sun goes down earlier in the day. It just feels cozy. I'm more alive at night. Anyway, got a little bit off topic there, but this just screams sort of like cold weather, nighttime, and it really just makes me happy. It's a dark charcoal and it really just makes me happy. So I'm a huge fan now of the OPI formula. I feel like it's really smooth. You can get a complete opacity with 2 coats, sometimes even just 1, but I tend to put 2 coats on all the time anyway because that's my nature. And I think they're glorious, and I can safely say now that they definitely make my favorite type of nail polish. I just think that they're light years beyond anybody else's brand, and the brush is thick too, which I really enjoy because I can't handle thin brushes anymore. It's just too difficult to do your nails really nicely with a thin brush. So man, OPI's got it all covered for me as far as I'm concerned, and this color in particular has been really special throughout the last month. Okay, that was a lot of harping on about nail polish. Let's switch it up and talk about lipstick. I have 2 shades in different formulas to talk about. The first one you can't get your hands on anymore. It is the Too Faced Melted Matte in the shade Pumpkin Spice from their holiday collection last year. But I know there's plenty of people who got their hands on it, so I'm encouraging you to pull this shade out because it's just been perfect for this season. I mean, October to me screams Halloween and pumpkin, so I just felt it was super appropriate to pull out this pumpkin spice color. But it is a neutral shade with a hint of orange to it, and I feel like that's really fall appropriate for the looks that I tend to go for. I'm going for something a little bit warmer, oranger, red, and when I'm going really heavy on the eye makeup, I've learned that I should go a little bit lighter on the lips because it just pulls the look together a little bit more seamlessly as opposed to having like a really bright eye and a really bright lip. I mean, I still do that sometimes, but sometimes it's just easier to have a more neutral toned orange tinted lip color. And I've mentioned recently that I'm not in love with the Too Faced Melted Matte formula anymore. I feel like a few years ago I thought it was a really good formula, but over time I've started to get a little bit annoyed with just how dry liquid lipsticks can be, and this can be drying, but I love the color so much that I will make exceptions for it, and the scent is amazing too because it smells like pumpkin spice, so that's really appealing to me. So yeah, this one's just been a really easy one to wear throughout the month of October. And on the other spectrum of sort of shades, this one is more of a neutral as well, but it's rosy tinted on me. So this is a MAC's, man, no one talks about MAC lipsticks anymore, and I feel like, so it feels funny to just pull this guy out. This is the MAC lipstick in the matte formula with the shade name Mare. And I initially picked this shade up because when I met Tessa Virtue last year at some Nivea PR event, I had asked her what lipstick she was wearing during her Moulin Rouge performance, and she told me it was MAC's Mare. And honestly, I was so stunned to be talking to her that I completely forgot about this shade and couldn't even figure out what she was talking about. She had to literally spell it out for me. And I was a little bit embarrassed because I definitely knew about this shade name and how it was spelled, but I was very starstruck. Anyway, she told me about this shade. I ran out and bought it because I'm that kind of person. And when I initially got it, I was like, it's kind of boring. Like, what is this neutral pinky brownish color? It's not that exciting, really, in the bullet, to me anyway. But I found when I put it on my lips, it took on this more pinker toned dimension to my lips. I found it to be actually really revitalizing looking on my lips. It looks more youthful than I thought it would just based on the tube. And I mean, this happens too with blushes as well that look super boring. I put them on and I'm like, wow, that's actually really flattering. So the same thing is true of this kind of color. And I used this last year for my Alice in Wonderland costume. I just needed sort of like a pinker-ish lip that would make me look youthful. And I busted it back out when I wore my Alice in Wonderland costume twice again this year for different events. And it just really looks nice. It's flattering. I think this would be an everyday shade for almost everybody out there. It's something that I can pull out with a plethora of different bright eyeshadow colors as well. So I've been really enamored with this color. Also, it's kind of funny to me now. This is a matte formula lipstick by MAC. And I used to really feel that that formula was super dry, but this feels so creamy to me now. I mean, now that we've gone through the land of liquid lipsticks that feel like dried paint on your lips, this feels like a cream lipstick to me as far as I'm concerned. So I've been really happy with MAC's Mare lipstick. Okay, lastly, I'm gonna talk about some eyeshadow. And let me talk about the palette first because I've already reviewed it, so you can go and take a look at that if you're interested in this palette. I've been talking about the Too Faced Hot Buttered Rum palette a lot lately, and it's just really great. You're gonna hear me repeat the same things over and over again about this, but I like the compact packaging. I like that it's tin. I prefer cardboard, but a small tin package is also good to me. I love just the overall aesthetic of it. And then you open it up and it's got 8 shades that are all sort of in the neutral zone that I really like. The only thing that's really missing from this for me for a neutral palette is red, but this is the other kinds of neutrals that I really enjoy. I like something that's a little bit more warmer toned, a little bit more rusty, which you're getting with this cinnamon shade down here. I love the yellow in here. It's such a fun color for fall and not a shade we see very often from Too Faced. I also think the shimmers are glorious. This copper up here is beautiful on the lid. And this more like champagne color is probably one that most people gravitate towards putting on the lid. It's beautiful, and the other mattes really round it out as well. I am impressed that I'm so enamored with this thing because it is a neutral palette and because there are only 8 shades in it. Generally, I prefer palettes that are a little bit larger because it gives me more variety and something more to play with. But this palette is so cohesive as a unit that I've not gotten bored of playing with this thing. I did 5 different eye looks for the review that I posted sometime this past month, and I was never bored of this palette. I kept wanting to put it back on my eyes just because it's so much fun. So yeah, I'm really enamored with the Too Faced mini palettes when the color combinations are good, because I wasn't that drawn to that Shake Your Pom Poms palette, but this one was really good. That peach palette was really good. So I hope to see more from Too Faced in this sort of format. The very last eyeshadows I'm going to talk about are by an indie brand, which is not an area of makeup that I'm too familiar with. I watch a lot of YouTubers who do talk about indie makeup, but it's not something I've ever really wanted to spend a ton of money in, and I'm not really sure why, honestly. But Cleona Cosmetics recently came out with this stained glass collection, and if you saw the swatches online, your jaw would just drop. Like, this is some of the most impressive looking makeup, eyeshadows really, that I have ever seen in my entire life. So I was at IMATS at the very end of September, I think it was, and they had a booth there. They're Toronto based, so they're pretty local, and they're pricey. So they're $25 per shadow, which kind of made me go, whew, like, whew, it's a lot of money. So I decided to get two, which is 50 bucks. Still makes me cringe thinking about it. But these swatches were so beautiful that I just had to try them out. So the two shades that I picked up were Anil and then, oh, what's the other one? Smolder. These are worth the money. And that's kind of a struggle to say because I told myself long ago that I would never spend $25 on a single shadow ever again because I just didn't use my single shadows enough. These are worth it. There's something so special about these colors. The color payoff is unreal, and the shifting duochrome, sometimes trichrome quality of these is like nothing I have ever seen before. It's kind of hard for me to show on camera because the ring light tends to wash things out, but the color that you're looking there is like the predominant color. But then if you sort of like angle them, oh, I want this to show so bad. That is not working in my favor, is it? No. So the color that it shifts to actually shows up on the eyes. So I was wearing this to work and I was asking my co-workers, I'm like, what colors do you see on my eyes? And they were like, well, I kind of see like a purple on one edge and then it's yellow on the other. They're like, what did you use for that? Like what different shadows? And I'm like, it's one shadow. So I found these to be super impressive. They are a little bit different as an eyeshadow. You don't really blend with these. You kind of just pat them on and then I'll use another color to blend them out. So there is a little bit of finessing with it because the texture it's a black base. So if you blend it out, you're just gonna get black, but you don't want that because you want these kind of like vibrant colors. So I've had a lot of fun playing with these and I will absolutely be picking more up. I think they're restocking them soon and I'm saving my pennies because they are pricey, but this is so special. I just have them in a little Makeup Forever palette that I got recently because they only come as singles without a pot. But yeah, this is something unique in makeup. I haven't seen anything really like this. I've seen more brands doing these kinds of shades now, but I like to support something that's local because it's local to me in Toronto. And these are really, really cool. Actually, you know what? Since my swatches are so garbage with this, I'm going to link to Angie's video down below. She swatched the entire stained glass collection by Cleona Cosmetics, and she did a phenomenal job of showing the different shifting qualities of it. So definitely go check out her video because she will show the swatches much better than I can. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. That was all the beauty products that I was deeply in love with throughout the month of October. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a wonderful month and I will see you next time. Bye.